Hello, I'm really excited for today's book because in the drear mid-February blues, thinking about Christmas somehow makes me feel a bit better in my heart. So last Christmas, I got this book from my mom, and I remember reading it on Christmas Day, after the Christmas lunch was over, the classic FM comes on, the tree is lit, the lights go down, and I'm slouched on the couch, about to go to bed from a food coma, and I had this book on my lap, and I was just peering through some of the pages while I was in my wonderful turkey-induced food coma. Sorry, no, it was a chicken-induced food coma. This year I had an exciting spread. I made chicken, an old Irish recipe called Colcannon, I think. Actually made a bit of a spin on Christmas. My friend made a vegetarian biryani, which is very nice, and had lots of other treats as well. But anywho, I digress. This book reminds me of that time of slouching on the couch and just feeling so content and relaxed. It is called The Henchmans at Home by Hester Burton. Got a lovely bookmark here. I wish it told me the page that we're reading, but unfortunately it does not. Very useful. Anywho, so my mom bought this online for me. I'll read the description. So it was illustrated by Victor G. Ambrose. This is the description on the sleeve. Rob and William Henchman and their sister Ellen are as different as three children in one family can be, yet they're inseparable. Rob is the youngest. His impulsive escapades lead them all to hilarious fun and adventure. Ellen is more complex, artistic and sensitive. She scorns anything that is false. William, the eldest and most serious of the three, dreams of becoming a doctor. This account of three high-spirited and very likable young people growing up in a Victorian household is filled with humor. But there is realism too, and poignant human drama. Each of these 6 interrelated short stories is complete in itself, but together they take the Henchmans through 11 eventful years. The Henchmans emerge as real and memorable personalities. Although they lived in another time, they have much to say to us today. Their warm relationship shines through their differences and problems. Henchmans at Home. I love the illustrations. So I won't be able to read the whole of the first story, but I'll probably do part 1, part 2, however many parts. I kind of only have 5 minutes left on my phone, so we'll see how much we get through. Right. So the first story is called The Day That Went Terribly Wrong. Oh dear. Right, I hope you're all tucked in, bed, got a nice warm cup of tea with you, relaxed, about to doze off, because we're going to start the story. The Day That Went Terribly Wrong. On that golden July morning, Rob Henchman sat aside the garden wall, feeling as proud as a king. It was his birthday, and everything was as perfect as it could possibly be, for his mother and William and Ellen had given him the toy theatre after all, and his father had bought him the knife out of Hindley's shop window, a proper man's knife, with 2 heavy blades and a long, strong spike. He rode the wall with his right hand inside his jacket pocket, clutching it to make sure it was safe, his pride swelling anew as he fingered the back of the blades. For with such a grown-up present, it was clear to everyone he was out of the nursery forever. His father, at last, at long last, had recognized him as a boy. He felt so pleased at this that he wanted to ring a bell, like the Rushby town crier, and bawl out to everyone walking past in the marketplace below, "Hi, everyone! It's my birthday, and I've got a great knife!" Please, for the love of God, no one should scream that on their birthday, especially in London. Jeez, okay. But his mother did not like him shouting. She did not even like him sitting on the wall. Besides, his father and William had a great contempt for boys who boasted about their possessions. Down below, in the garden, the white damask tablecloth suddenly flapped in the air, like a swan taking wing. "Hold on tight, Florrie," cried cook, "or you'll have it caught in the rose bush." Florrie giggled and held tight. Rob liked Florrie's giggle. It made him feel happier still. Now they were spreading the cloth over the trestle table and patting down the creases, making little clucking noises as they bustled about. This made him happy too, for it was his party that they were so busy with, not Ellen's or William's, but his alone. He had chosen the guests and the jellies and the games, and last week, without telling anyone, he dashed across the marketplace and invited Mr. Brooks, the draper, to come show them his conjuring tricks. He had done it on his own. It was his day, not William's. William wouldn't even be there. He was away at boarding school. Rob gripped the warm bricks between his knees and shut his eyes in pure bliss. For the first time in his life, he, Robert Henchman, would be the absolute lord of his own party. Then, suddenly deciding that this day of days should be remembered forever, he opened his eyes again and took out his knife, unclasped the long, strong spike, chose a particularly clean and splendid brick on top of the wall, and carved July 10th, 1891. Then, just in case posterity should think that this was someone else's day and not his, he added with a flourish, R.H. "What are you doing?" shot Ellen, sharply from 3 feet below his left foot. She was standing on the edge of the narrow flower bed, peering up. "Nothing much," he replied wearily, not liking to be caught carving his own initials. But the nothing much betrayed him. A puff of brick dust blew off the wall into Ellen's upturned face. "Yes, you are," she said accusingly, wiping the dust off her cheek. "You're ruining your new knife. You'll have turned the blade, you silly." "I'm not silly," he replied hotly. "I'm using the spike. But don't you lose your temper, and come down to the wall. Mother doesn't like you sitting up there." With which she turned on her heel and skipped back across the lawn to Florrie and started to help lay out the plates. His sister was maddening at times, but today he refused to be maddened. It was too good a day for a quarrel. "It's my birthday," he shouted after her, "and I'm going to do just what I want." Then he grinned. He was learning to stand up to Ellen in her nagging fits. It was simple. One just shouted at her and contradicted everything she said. In his triumph, he strummed his heels against the wall, and, in doing so, kicked the iron shaft of the long speaking tube which ran from his father's bedside along the garden wall, through the surgery, over the stable roof, and into Lambert, the groom's, attic window. The speaking tube let out an echoing iron boom. "Ellen!" shouted Rob. "Come and listen!" She stopped flouncing around the shimmering tablecloth and looked back at him. He kicked the tube again, and the shaft thrummed and hummed all across the garden from the house to the surgery. "Oh, Rob," she cried, "do it again." She ran back to the flower bed and looked at the speaking tube, snaking under the honeysuckle and the clematis, shuddering and booming each time he kicked it. "Don't do it any more," she begged in sudden panic. "You might break it." The speaking tube was a bond between them. They loved it. So, because of the time, I'm going to have to stop it there before my phone cuts it out. But yes, I might do a part 2 to this, because I am really interested to know what is going to happen on his birthday and why it will become a terrible day. So yes, join me for more adventures of Henchmans at Home. Have a lovely evening. Take care.